morning, student. Today we would be discussing chapter 4, that is Albert Einstein in the school. Okay, this chapter throws a good light on the existing system of education. Fine, student. Education actually means cramming fact and date without keeping in view the basic idea. So this was the fact in Germany, and it is still prevalent in many countries. Fine. So this chapter is all about Albert, who was free, frank, and fearless student. He spoke frankly before the teacher that it was useless to learn dates, fact, and figure rather than the ideas. The fact could be seen in a book, according to Albert Einstein, when he was in the school, and this made the teacher irritated. He insulted Albert, and finally, Albert had to leave the school. And not only that, he left that country and he finally came to Italy, and the rest is history. All of you know about it. So, this chapter mainly deal about the true meaning of education. According to the author, education is not the syllabus we are being taught. Formulas, not the syllabus taught is being education. Education is a way to go ahead and achieve yourself. True meaning of education is the whole purpose of the student's life. Education makes the life simple and better. Fine. And education, according to the author, education should be focused on the all-round development of the child. So this chapter is all about Albert Einstein and how education nearly curbed his ability. Fine. Now coming to the chapter line by line, I am just going to read it for you people. In what year Einstein asked the history teacher, did the person defeated the French at Waterloo? So the history teacher asked Albert Einstein the very question as to when did the Persian defeated French at Waterloo. So his answer was, I don't know, sir. So what does the sir reply? Why don't you know? You have been told it often enough. Albert Einstein, he says that I must have forgotten. Did you ever try to learn? Asked Mr. Brown. So Mr. Brown is the history teacher. He asked Albert Einstein the question as to when did the Persian defeated French, and what was the answer? Albert Einstein, he said that he know nothing about it. Why? Because he must have forgotten it. And did you ever try to learn? Asked Mr. Brown. No, sir, Albert replied with his usual unthinking honesty. So, without making any excuses and without thinking, he just gave an answer. It was his usual unthinking honesty that I do not know. Unlike the student of nowadays who will keep on making the excuses. So, without excuse, he bluntly gave the honest answer that he never tried to learn the date. So why not? Then he says that I can't see any point in learning the date. One can always look them up in the book. So what was his view? He felt that there is no point in learning the date and one can always find them in the book. Mr. Brown was speechless for a few moments. Mr. Brown was amazed. Okay, you amaze me, Einstein, he said at last. Don't you realize that one can always look most things up in the book? So what was Mr. Brown's answer? Mr. Brown's answer was, then there is no use of learning anything. So because all the facts can be found in the book. Then what was Albert Einstein's answer? He said, yes, sir. Then I suppose you don't see any point in learning the fact. Frankly, sir, I don't, said Albert. So Albert was giving the answer very boldly, very frankly. Okay, whatever he felt, he spoke to the teacher. Then you don't believe in education at all. Then the teacher said that you do not believe in education. He said, oh yes, sir, I do, but I don't think learning fact is education. According to Albert Einstein, he was in favor of education, but he was not in favor of learning the dates figure. Fine. So this is the first paragraph of your chapter. So the question that comes out to be is, just note down in your notebook. Do you think Albert is being impolite while answering the history teacher's question? Give your reason. So this is a thinking question. So the answer may vary from student to student. But what I feel is, no, I don't think Albert was being impolite while answering the teacher's question, because he was giving the reply what he felt in his heart. He did not want to insult the teacher. He spoke frankly and thought that the ideas were more important than dates and fact. Is this clear? Is this answer clear? Okay. Now the second question that comes out to be is this: what character of Einstein nature is highlighted by the exchange between him and the teacher? So the conversation of Mr. Brown and Mr. and Albert is here, and you have to give the character based on this conversation. So according to the conversation, it seems that Einstein was quite frank. He was straightforward and fearless. He had his original ideas, which he did not like to change. He attached more importance to ideas than to the fact. Okay, he spoke the truth without any fear and had no faith in superficial knowledge. He wanted to go into the depth of the things. Fine, is this clear, student? Fine. And then the third question that comes out from this extract is, why did Albert see no point in learning dates and fact? So the answer goes this way: Albert did not see any point in learning dates and facts because the things required more of learning them by heart instead by thinking. Okay, he prefers thinking to simply memorizing the dates and facts. Fine. He stressed the idea should be based on the learning new things. Is this clear? So first page is clear to you. Fine. So now coming to the second page that is there on the screen. Now this is the one. The second page. I'll be reading it out for you. In that case, said the history teacher with heavy sarcasm, perhaps you will be so kind as to tell the class the Einstein theory of education. So the teacher was frustrated and he asked Albert Einstein to give his theory of education. Albert flushed. I think it is not the fact that matter but ideas, he said. I don't see the point in learning the date of battle or even which army killed more men. I'll be more interested in learning why those soldiers were trying to kill each other. So what was his idea of education? He felt that learning the dates is not that important, but learning the facts, the new ideas was more important. He was not interested in knowing when the about the date of the battle or which army killed more. He was interested as to why they were fighting. That's enough, Mr. Brown. Eyes were cold and cruel. We don't want a lecture from you. Einstein, you will stay in for extra period today, although I don't imagine it would do much good. It won't do good to the school either. You are a disgrace and I don't know why you continue to come. So, yeah, the teacher insulted him and he was punished for extra period. Fine. So the question that comes out to be is, why did Albert feel miserable when he left the school? Albert answer is the Albert Einstein felt miserable when he left the school because that day history teacher insulted him a lot and he said that he was a disgrace for the school. Okay, so that much for today. We'll continue tomorrow from the same very extract, that is paragraph 2. So copy down all the question. I have given you 4-5 question. So copy down that question and answer, and tomorrow we'll start from the second extract. Okay, thank you. Stay home, stay safe.